Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're going to break down just a single, pretty shocking political comment and trace how it ripples out, affecting democracy and the rule of law. It's really a story about how words, especially from the very top, can be turned into weapons. So here it is. This is the statement from Philippine Vice President Sara Duterte that just set off a complete firestorm. Now, this is way more than just some off-the-cuff remark. It really forces us to ask a tough question. What does it actually mean for a democracy when a leader starts openly talking about kidnapping? Okay, so this comment from the vice president was aimed squarely at Representative Zaldi Co. Now, he was out of the country at the time, and he was also being implicated in a government probe, something about fishy flood control projects. And that context, it's absolutely key to understanding the explosion that came next. And the response was, wow, immediate. It created this really fascinating clash between institutions. So on one side, you have the vice president suggesting this extra legal action, just go grab him. And on the other side, you get this super sharp official smackdown from the executive palace itself, calling it exactly what it is, a dangerous and illegal idea.
And you've got to notice the contrast here. While the rhetoric was all about breaking the law, the actual institutional response was by the book, strictly procedural. The House didn't send a snatch team, it just revoked his travel papers. They followed the rules, which drew a really clear line in the sand between heated political talk and official legal action. But here's the thing. A lot of analysts are arguing this wasn't just some simple mistake or a slip of the tongue. No, they see it as a real window into a very specific political mindset, one that has a pretty particular view on how power and the legal process should work. This idea of authoritarian theater really helps explain the appeal of a so-called shortcut like kidnapping. It's all about projecting decisiveness and strength to your political base. It's like a viral video clip of power. Act first, deal with the boring legal stuff later. That just completely sidesteps the slow and, let's be honest, often frustrating machinery of the law. And this ties right into another concept, instrumentalism. It's a pretty cold political calculation where the ends justify the means. So, from this point of view, legal safeguards, they are not seen as fundamental protections for everybody. Nope, they're just annoying obstacles getting in the way of what you want. This also pulls back the curtain on a really powerful psychological tactic, projection. By flipping the script and framing themselves as the victims, by claiming their father was kidnapped, they basically create a moral alibi to hit back. All of a sudden, playing the victim becomes a license to act completely outside the law. So, moving beyond the psychology, analysts point to some very clear, short-term, tactical goals that this kind of language is designed to achieve. This isn't just someone venting, it's functional, it's meant to do something. Think about it. A single comment can act like a four-pronged political weapon. It rallies your base, it puts pressure on the system, it reframes the whole story, and it sends a chilling message to any potential witnesses all at the same time. This is not just talk. It's a calculated move designed to get specific, tangible results. Now, to really get the full weight of this comment, you kind of have to zoom out and place it in a much larger context. We're talking about the family's well-known, well-established political legacy and their particular style. And this is where analysts draw a direct line, a direct parallel. They see a clear lineage from the father's alleged actions to the daughter's explicit rhetoric. One source even called it a dangerous live echo. This idea that a history of violent solutions gives birth to a present filled with violent language. And that really brings us to the long-term damage. Because this kind of rhetoric isn't just about the political drama of the day, it's about the slow, steady erosion of democratic institutions. The stakes here are so much higher than one comment about one politician. The consequences just ripple outwards, right? Creating problems that are legal, institutional, political, and even international. But, maybe the most frightening risk of all is the operational one. The risk that someone, somewhere, hears this rhetoric and takes it literally and decides to act. And this, right here, is the core of why this matters so much. A leader's job is to uphold the law, and the law is basically a system of limits on power. So this kind of talk reveals a willingness to just toss aside the very limits that are meant to keep power in check, especially when family feels threatened. So it leaves us with this really challenging question. What's the line between fierce loyalty and just plain lawlessness? And more importantly, what happens to a whole country when that line is deliberately blurred from the very top?
because that's not a private family drama anymore. That becomes public business. And that's something a democracy just can't afford.